Hey everyone, welcome to another installment of I F and Love Cinema. Today we're going to be talking about the experimental Mexican film directed by Carlos Bolado and starring Damian Alcazar as Damian. And the movie is called Bajo California, The Limit of Time, El Limite del Tiempo. And it's an experimental movie. It's on Mubi right now, which is having a an entire had an entire collection of Mexican movies that I've been like watching, and it's been pretty awesome actually to watch movies like this from my homeland, from Mexico, and especially this movie. Oh man, this movie was really something special for me. Not perfect, not perfect. Has major flaws, but I loved it despite that. I thought it was a great. First of all, let me go ahead and set it up here. The movie is about Damian, who is a Mexican American, is a working artist in Los Angeles. And one night he runs over a pregnant, who he believes to be illegal immigrant, uh, and who he believes he killed. And out of guilt and out of fear of the law, he runs to Mexico and leaves his own pregnant wife behind. And so the movie is about him going back to Mexico and to sort of seek for redemption, to learn how to cope with what he has done. And it's essentially a story of rebirth and essentially like getting back in touch with your roots, with who you are. And what unfolds is one of the most unique capital A art films that I've seen in a long time. The first thing that really stands out about it to me, watching it, first of all, movie only had like a 360p rip, which is usually pretty crappy. But despite that, the movie managed to have a great look, very memorable, very kind of like Terrence Malick in a lot of ways, not just in the look, but also in the sort of rhythmic editing that it had. There's times that even kind of reminded me of Stalker, the Tarkovsky movie, where it's just sort of like this really rhythmic, hypnotic editing and like all this collage of images, and it just creates this really great. Not just a rhythm, but a great just like feeling inside you. It kind of really sets you up very, very much so for the story that the movie is telling. Because most of that happens in the first third of the movie. Yeah, and the movie is essentially just Damian going from place to place in these little like vignettes where he grows as a person and leaves a bit of his old self behind in the form of art, and it's a really really great, really just well put together, really tight um art house film, and I really loved what the movie was doing until, oh man, the jeez, this movie drops the ball at the very end, unfortunately, and that's a bummer. I'm not the believer that a bad ending can take your movie entirely, but it's hard to bounce back from a bad ending. And this movie does manage to, despite its okay, without spoiling anything, it just has a huge jarring tonal shift where something very sad and very tragic happens, and the main characters are there to witness this horribly sad thing. And then, like, literally at the very next scene, it cuts and the main character is smiling. It's like, well, I'm ready to go back home now. And the other character like, well, it was nice meeting you, man. Cool. All right. Good luck. It was so jarring. It was so jarring, and such a it was such a beautifully transcendent, like, melancholy story. I mean, it had some comedic beats. Don't get me wrong; it wasn't all dark. It wasn't like a Lars von Trier movie or anything. But it was definitely a very different, just kind of like tonally much more a melancholy thing. And then in the very end, it's just kind of like, well, it didn't kill the movie completely. It still managed to have the final moments of the movie are still satisfying enough, but it definitely ultimately, unfortunately, left a bad taste in my mouth. For I really wanted to love it ultimately, so it comes down to, yeah, like, I've really enjoyed watching all these Mexican movies, and I think a big part of my channel, especially for this year, and not just my channel, but for my life in general. I don't know, I've never done this before to begin with. Honestly, I'm really gonna get into Mexican cinema this year. I'm gonna check out the rest of the movies offerings, but I also ordered a 3 pack from Vinegar Syndrome, a new release they have called Mexican Gothic, the movies of Carlos Enrique Taboado. I think that's his name. And he's made 3 horror movies. I can't wait for them to come in. The Blu-ray transfers look amazing on YouTube already. So, gonna be more Mexican movies, Mexican movie reviews coming your way. I'm excited. I hope you guys are excited too. That being said, I've been Ed. You guys have been super awesome. Take care.